Welcome to EPG Pathshala. This is Dr. Ankush Imbarda from Department of Tourism and Hotel Management, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. Today, I'll be taking up a topic from the subject Tourism and Hotel Management, Front Office Operations and Management. And the topic is Innkeeper's Law. Well, after completing this module, the students will be able to understand the meaning of law, importance of laws in hotels, and laws for various hotel operations, specifically in front office. Laws for tots and laws for guests in hotels. Every business organization has to obey laws of the land related to the nature of operations in hotels is not an exception. A front office manager has to ensure various obligations as required by the law of state. Various formats used for registering domestic and international guests have to be filled and maintained and sent to relevant authorities like Foreign Regional Registration Office, FRRO. Hotel accounting system followed must be internationally accepted, and proper reporting of data to concerned authorities like Income Tax Department, etc. must be met accordingly. One important aspect related to accommodation laws is to take care of safety and security of guests according to Sarais Act 1867. Moreover, fraudulent payments made by guests are also a matter of concern, and the front office head must be well acquainted with laws to meet such challenges and in a position to take relevant and legal action. Law can be defined as the body of rules and regulations that aims of creating social system that force people to live in a civilized manner. The perception of common mind is that laws are regulations and made by the government that have to be followed, and in case one breaks may get penalized accordingly. For hotel operators or any business is the rules that defines the correct way to do a job. Now, hotel law can be explained as a legal and social practice related to the treatment of a guest or those who patronize a place of business. Related to the concept of legal liability, hotel laws are intended to protect both hosts and guests against injury, whether accidental or intentional. Hotel laws are related to accommodation, food and beverage service, and travel formalities. A hotel is a commercial establishment offering lodging to bona fide travelers and sometimes to permanent residents, and may be used by the general public. Most states require restaurants and hotels or inn owners to apply for and receive a license to operate such facilities. The owner is under a duty to furnish proper accommodation and to exercise proper care for safety and peaceful stay of the guest, while the guest must exercise due care to refrain from any disruptive or offensive conduct. An innkeeper is under an additional duty to offer service and lodging to all persons unless he or she has some reasonable grounds for refusal. An innkeeper may not refuse service to any person on ground that would violate civil rights law. Owners are prohibited from refusing to accommodate or entertain persons on account of their race, color, religion, or national origin. Legal definition of hotel under various laws are: so according to Hotel Properties Act 1956 UK defines inn or hotel as an establishment held out by the proprietor as offering food, drink, and if so required sleeping accommodation without special contract to any traveler presenting himself who appears able and willing to pay a reasonable sum for the services and facilities provided, and who is in a fit condition to be received. Under the Sarais Act 1867, sarai is defined as a building used for the shelter and accommodation of travelers, and includes in any case in which only part of a building is used as a sarai, the part so used of such building. It also includes a purao so far as the provision of this act are applicable thereto. According to Delhi Rent Control Act 1958, hotel or lodging house means a building or a part of building where lodging with or without board or other services is provided for a monetary gain. The Hotel Rate and Structure Committee, formed in 1958, further amplified that no establishment that does not primarily offer residential accommodation and is not so used should be permitted to use the word hotel. Some important legislations applicable on hotels in India. First, Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. The main objective of this act is to make available safe, pure, wholesome and nutritious food to the public. It protects the public from poisonous and harmful foods. The act also ensures no sale of substandard foods at the outlets, points of sale, and eliminates fraudulent practices, if any. Next is Food Safety and Standard Act. The main objective of this act is to establishment of Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which lays down scientific standards relating to articles of food and even regulates the manufacture, storage, distribution, sale and import of food articles and ensures the availability of safe and wholesome food for human consumption and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Next is the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act, or the Air Act. This act makes provisions for both central and state boards power to declare pollution control areas, restrictions on certain industrial units, authority of the boards to limit emission of air pollutants, power of entry, inspection, taking samples and analysis, penalties of offences by companies and government and cognizance of offences, etc. The Act specifically empowers state government to designate air pollution areas and to prescribe the type of fuel to be used in these designated areas. According to this Act, no person can operate certain types of industries, including the asbestos, cement, fertilizers, and petroleum industries, without consent of the state board. Next is the Water Act, or the Prevention and Control of Water. The objectives of this act is to prevent the pollution of water by industrial, agricultural, and household wastewater that can contaminate our water sources. Wastewaters with high levels of pollutants that enter wetlands, rivers, lakes, wells, as well as the sea are serious health hazards. Controlling the point sources by monitoring the levels of different pollutants is one of the way to prevent pollution by punishing the polluters. Individuals can also do several things to reduce water pollution, such as using biodegradable chemicals for household use, reducing the use of pesticides in gardens, and identifying polluting sources at workplaces and industrial units where oil or other petroleum products and heavy metals are used. Next is the Legal Metrology Act. The objective of this act is to establish and enforce standards of weights and measures, regulate trade and commerce in weights, measures, and other goods which are sold or distributed by weight, measures, or number for matter connected therewith or incidental thereto. Next is the Copyrights Act. Now, this act protects original works of ownership. It gives an exclusive right to do or authorize others to do certain acts in relation to literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic work, cinematography, and sound recordings. Hotels have to take license under this act to organize plays, musical shows, or any other events. Next is the Foreign Exchange Management Act, Fema. Hotels have to take license under this act to organize plays, musical shows, or any other events. Next is the Foreign Exchange Management Act, Fema. The objectives of this act is to facilitate external trade and payments and for promoting the orderly development and maintenance of foreign exchange market in India. This act seeks to make offence related to foreign exchange civil offences. Next, the Employees State Insurance Act. The Employees State Insurance Act entails social insurance scheme that would protect the interest of workers in eventualities such as sickness, maternity, temporary or permanent physical disablement, and death due to employment injury resulting in the loss of wages or earning capacity. The Act also guarantees reasonably good medical care to the worker and their immediate dependents. Next, the Provident Funds Act. Now, the Employees Provident Funds Act is enacted to provide a kind of social security to industrial workers. The Act mainly provides retirement or old age benefits such as Provident Fund, superannuation, pension, invalidation pension, family pension, and deposit linked insurances. Next is the Apparentus Act. The primary objective of Apparentus Act was to meet the increasing demand for skilled craftsmen in the development of the country. It is intended by the government to utilize facilities available for training apprentices and to ensure that their training is in accordance with the planned program. Various types of disputes between the employers and the apprentices raised due to growth of industries led to implementation of this Act. This Act has also been enacted to provide for the regulation and control of training of apprentices and for matters connected therewith. Next is the Hotel Insurance Policy. Hotel insurance is specifically designed to meet the growing requirements of the hotel industry. Customized hotel insurance can be arranged to cover all types of establishments. A standard hotel insurance policy includes protection against threats such as builder's risk, fire, accidental damage, and natural calamities. Next is Income Tax Act 1961. The taxation structure plays a very important role in the working any economy. The emphasis is to decrease in rates of taxes and withdrawal of incentives. The taxation structure is in conformity with the economic and social objectives of a nation. It should not impair the incentives to personal savings and investment flow, and on the other hand, it should not result into decrease in revenue for the state. In present time, two types of tax, direct and indirect, income tax, wealth tax and gift tax are direct taxes, whereas sales tax and excise duties are indirect taxes. Next is value added tax, VAT. VAT is an indirect tax that is imposed on different goods and services on the basis of value added amount in different stages of production and distribution. It is not a genuinely new form of taxation but merely a sales tax administered in different form. Although it is borne by the final consumer, VAT is collected at each stage of production and distribution chain. Next is the service tax. The term service means the act of helping or doing work for another or for a community, etc. Thus, the service tax charge stands for assistance or benefit given to someone. Though ordinarily for rendering such service, certain payment is made, but it is not so in all the cases. The amount charged for such service is the remuneration of the person providing such service. Next is the luxury tax. The tax is levied on luxuries provided in hotels, lodging houses, clubs, inns, etc. It is applicable on stay charges, that is room rent, and is not applicable on food charges. Luxury tax is statutory in nature and is applied by different states on the stay charges, that is room rent. It varies from state to state. Next is entertainment or amusement tax. Now, entertainment tax is levied on every financial transaction that is related to entertainment, such as movie tickets, major commercial shows, and big private festivals. Entertainment means any exhibition, performance, amusement, game, sport, or race, including horse races, and cinematography, exhibitions. Following are some of the forms of entertainment that are included in the preview of entertainment tax: amusement parks, video games, arcades, exhibitions, celebrity stage shows, sports activities, bowling alleys, and billiards pool joints. In India, state governments are primarily responsible for collecting this kind of entertainment taxes. Now, the regulatory agencies which regulate hotels The Hotel and Restaurant Approval and Classification Committee, HRACC, it is the regulatory body that inspects and assesses establishments based on the facilities and services offered. The Department of Tourism grants star status based on how well the establishment scores in the HRACC report. Now 90% is 5-star deluxe, 80% is 5-star, 75 4-star, 65 3-star, 55 is 2-star, and 50 is 1-star. Next is Food Authority, assesses matters relating to Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. Now to regulate and monitor the manufacture, processing, distribution, sale and import of food so as to ensure safe and wholesome food. Next is the Federation of Hotel and Restaurant Association of India. The FHRAI is also a regulating authority. Next, the Ministry of Tourism is the nodal authority, and along with the Department of Tourism, it is responsible for policies, promotions and regulation of hospitality industry, particularly hotels. The following are some of the important guidelines issued by the Department of Tourism: approval of hotels at project stage and classification and reclassification of hotels, heritage hotels, timeshare resorts, standalone restaurants. Now, guidelines for apartment hotels, guest houses, hospitality development and promotional boards, implementing a transparent system for the effective monitoring of hotel projects, ensure timely accurate of approvals, clearances, NOCs by multiple agencies, and facilitate the implementation of hotel projects. Expeditions, clearances will enable completion of hotel projects in time, leading to enhancements of room availability for the tourists. Now the duties of hoteliers towards guests. Every hotel has the basic duty of providing accommodation and food or beverage to a guest, unless he or she has reasonable grounds of refusal. The primary duty of hotel is to welcome guests while exercising due care. The hotel management is duty bound to provide accommodation to a guest against confirmed room reservation. A confirmed room reservation is held without taking an advance deposit from a guest, and a guaranteed room reservation is one that has been confirmed after taking due advance from the guest. If the guest fails to register on the set date of reservation, the guest is considered as a no-show and the deposit collected is added to the room sales. Overbooking is a practice followed to ensure revenue even from a no-show guest, and hence calculated percentage of rooms are overbooked. Next, the hotel needs to provide safety and security to guests and their belongings. For same, the hotel has to take due care of the privacy of guests, handling guests with any disabilities, and for that, entrance of the hotel, in-room features and bathroom features should be accordingly designed. Warding guests of any unsafe areas of the hotel, preventing personal injuries and subsequent lawsuits, responsible for guests' lost and found items, liable for any loss or damage to guest property, and handling unusual incidents. Next, circumstances under which a hotel management can refuse admission to or deny accommodation to a guest. So under torts law, it gives right to the hotel to prevent a guest from entering the hotel in case the management does not find a guest in a fit condition to be received. Now, a guest not in a fit condition could be one who is unwilling to pay or is unable to pay for the facilities and services provided by the establishment, that is room, food, beverage, recreation, spa, etc. A guest visibly under the influence of alcohol or drugs or creating nuisance in public, such as abusive or offensive in language, if the management believes that the guest might use the property premises for any unlawful purposes, so could give a feeling of danger from such guests, and any minor below the age of 18 years may be restricted to take a room with the hotel. Next is circumstances under which the hotel management can evict a guest. So in order to attract any liability and consciousness litigation for evicting a guest, hotels are cautious and conservative. The hotel management has a right to evict a guest who has disorderly conduct, refuses to pay, uses the premises for any unlawful purpose or act, bringing property to hotel premises that may be dangerous to others, failing to vacate a room at the agreed checkout time, and violating any hotel rule. So being a minor accompanied by an adult registered guest, failing to register as a guest. Next would be serving food and beverage responsibility. The hotel management should be true in providing information about menu, the nature of food and the beverage, the price being charged. The description of the dishes on the menu should be accurate, and the ingredients description even should be up to mark. The serving of food and beverages need also comply with the laws pertaining to service of alcoholic beverages, and restrictions on smoking in particular areas of the hotel must be implemented strictly. Smoking in public areas such as bars, restaurants, hotel lobbies is regulated by the Cigarette and Other Tobacco Products Act 2003. Handling fraud committed by guests. Some frauds committed by guests in hotels are non-payment of charges. So in case of non-payment of charges, the hotel is liable to detain guest property till such payment is made by the guest. While detailing the property, related document must be duly signed by the guest pledging the property to the hotel till payment of any due amount. Next, credit card frauds. So frauds could be made by guests using cloned credit cards after gaining information of the card and the card holder. Only a vigilant cashier can identify such cards. The only way to prevent is that the original card holder does not disclose information pertaining to credit card. Skippers. There could be guests who may use hotel facilities and skip without paying for the services utilized. These guests generally have no previous record, and hence a receptionist at the time of registering a guest need to check for scanty baggage and accordingly demand advance in full prior of assigning a room to guest. Theft of hotel property from guest room. So thefts in guest rooms could happen due to casual attitude of staff. The guest could take away any amenity or fixtures in the room to keep as a remembrance, or may be done intentionally by habit of picking from different hotels. If found guilty, the guest may be charged for the same in a diplomatic way. Complaints to secure waiver charges. So guests may complain of food and beverage to waiver charges. The complaints raised could be cold food, stale food served, rancid oil used, adulterated ingredients, and so on. The restaurant manager needs to resort by waiving the charges or by replacing the item, hence depriving of revenue that the hotel could have earned. Now, to summarize the unit, hotel law is the legal and social practice related to the treatment of a guest or those who patronize a place of business. Related to the concept of legal liability, hotel laws are intended to protect both hosts and guests against injury, whether accidental or intentional. Hotel laws are related to accommodation, food and beverage service, and travel formalities. Every hotels operating in India have to abide by the rules and regulations present and formulated from time to time. Obeying law is important for every stakeholder of the enterprise, be it the host or the guest. Non-compliance of law attracts various fines and punishments and valuable for a standardized system of business operations. The detailed interpretation of these acts can be well established from available acts of Central Government of India, state governments. Thank you for watching EPG Pathshala. This was Dr. Ankush Ambardar from Kurukshetra University.